All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today for today's workshop. I know a lot of people are really interested in what we're going to be discussing today, and that is water. All right, will the Deputy Clerk please take the roll call?
Commissioner Murillo?
Here.
Commissioner Milligan?
Here.
Commissioner Brennan?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Commissioner Taylor said he would be here about 5:30. He's running a little late.
Commissioner Brendan, if I can make a suggestion, we need to hold water meetings more often, as it seems to bring in a little bit of a change in the weather.
Yeah.
So let's get another one scheduled as soon as we can.
You know, water follows water.
Absolutely.
All right, so once again, this is a workshop, so no decisions are going to be made during this meeting. This is basically to get information out to the public on what the town is proposing to do. And from there, I will turn it over to the town manager.
And I will turn it over to Mr. Ron Green.
I have a couple of associates here with me, one Senator Michael Padilla, that may be able to answer some questions and then also I have Clifford Heine. And Clifford works with the pipe manufacturing facility group. What we want to do, our vision, is to bring water, sustainable water, into the area. Our project benefits to Edgewood. Our project will provide a sustainable water supply for future growth and development. Improved water quality, hardness in particular. The hardness of water here is currently 33 to 53 grains per gallon hardness. Our water is at 8 grains per gallon hardness. We also, thanks to Senator Padilla, there's an opportunity for broadband installation. And if you have questions about that, he can expand on that a little bit. We got to have water for economic growth. For economic growth, you got to have water, fiber, resources, as well as power and other things. We'll also provide 250 local jobs, construction jobs, and another 260 pipe manufacturing jobs, and resources for additional commercial and industrial opportunities. 65% of the state's population lives in the Middle Rio Grande corridor, and that includes the Estancia Basin. There's 1.3 million people in the entire Rio Grande corridor, including the Estancia Basin. The water supply is over-appropriated and inadequate, not just for growth, but to meet current needs. To sustain current needs and allow for the area's growth and stability, the vision is for large diameter pipelines to move water from where it is to where it's needed via interbasin transfers. The Mid-Region Council of Government says that there's a total of 80,000 acre feet needed in the entire area by 2040. Santa Fe and Torrance County, there's a population increase of close to 16,000 people. You can see there are 17,000 people with what they predict by 2040. Edgewood was incorporated in 1999. The population, the census in 2000 was 1,893. It grew by 1,842, a 7% growth rate between 2000 and 2010, when the census was 3,735, and then a growth from 2,400, additional 2,400 people from 2010 to 2020 for the population U.S. census of 6,174, a 5% growth rate for the last 10 years, and it's continuing to grow at a rapid rate. There's two maps here. This is the well database map. Each little black dot is an individual well in the Estancia Basin. The larger red dots are commercial production wells. And then this is one USGS monitoring well information. They read these over so often. They show the declines out here in the Estancia. This is in 10-7, 7 East, 10 North, 23, Section 23. Albuquerque and the Middle Rio Grande needs water also. This is a map of developments on the west side of Albuquerque around the Paseo de Volcan, and there's no water for any of those maps. There's no water for growth. No water for, they're about 4,000 upside down with houses. They need that many more, and at their current growth rate, they need about an additional 4,000 dwelling units per year. In addition, the 6 Middle Rio Grande pueblos finally approved the assessment team said they could negotiate a settlement rather than having to go to court. This includes Cochiti, Santo Domingo, San Felipe, Santa Ana, Sandia, and the Esletas. John D. Antonio said to save 5,000 acre-feet for that purpose. However, I'm told that the pueblos are going to request substantially more than that. This is a letter that City Attorney James Babin for the town of Rio Rancho issued in 2012. He said they had a water liability of 16,000 acre-feet. They had acquired 3,800 of that 16,000 acre-feet. They have to offset the depletion effects caused by their groundwater pumping, either by buying water rights and retiring those rights or from some other sustainable source. They have 2 permits that allows them to pump, each permit allows them to pump 12,000 acre-feet, but they have to purchase 8 plus discharge their effluent. This is the first permit, and by 2117, it runs out for a long period of time. They need to acquire another 6,100 acre-feet of water. Their second permit, they're just now beginning to use, and they'll need 8,000 acre-feet. Between the 2 of them, they're going to need better than 10,000 acre-feet. Rio Rancho's 40-year plan, well, back up, the permit says if the permittee does not meet the requirements of the application, the judge says that they have to reduce their diversions by 3% a year on an annual basis until they have transferred the requisite water rights. Their 40-year plan, again, suggests interbasin transfers. Wilson says that by 2012, they should start planning for an interbasin transfer from Blue Water Lake or some other source. Las Cruces 40-year plan was done by Schumacher, and with the same conclusion, that there is not enough water in the Rio Grande for growth, and they need to look at alternative sources like the Corralitos Basin, the Nuthocket, or the Members for an interbasin transfer. There's 3.8 million acre-feet of water used a year in New Mexico. 3 million acre-feet is used for irrigated agriculture, roughly 78%, while about 320,000 acre-feet, somewhere close to 8%, is used for public supplies, and then we lose about 270,000 acre-feet through evaporation off the surface of the rivers and lakes, and then other uses makes up the balance there. There's a total irrigated acres in New Mexico, 662,000 irrigated acres, and this is just a chart of on a county-by-county basis where that acreage is. From an economic standpoint, if we take the 3.8 million acre-feet and deduct the 279, then there's 3,550,000 acre-feet that's used to generate economic activity in the state. That generates $152 billion of activity, economic impact. On a per acre foot basis, turns out to be $43,000 per acre foot. And on a per acre foot basis, total jobs is 1,161,000, and on a per acre foot basis is 0.327 acre foot per job per acre foot of water used. Agriculture, if you just break that down by itself, contributes 50 billion of the 152 billion, and the economic impact per acre foot's a little less than $17,000 per acre foot. 265,000 total jobs, which is 0.088 job per acre foot of water used. Wages paid of $14 billion, or $4,786 per acre-foot of water used. Non-agricultural use of 550,000 acre-feet generates $102 billion in economic impact. The $185,000 per acre-foot, total jobs are 896,000, and $1.5 billion jobs per acre-foot, or 1.58 jobs per acre-foot of water. $60 billion in wages paid, or $101,000 wages per acre-foot of water used. The Berendo line can provide up to 30,000 acre-feet, 9.7 billion gallons a year into the Estancia and Middle Rio Grande basins annually via an interbasin transfer. We're going to build a 200-mile, 36-inch welded steel line to bring the water here. We have about 12 to 14 months of pre-construction. During that time frame, we anticipate building the pipe manufacturing facility. We have right-of-way work to do. We've started on some of that, but we have substantially more to do. Design engineering, right now, Cobb Finley and Bohannon Houston is working on that, but we do need additional engineers, and we'll go through the state engineer permitting simultaneously. Then at the end of that time frame, we can start construction. The pipe plant will put out 3,500 linear feet a day, or can, if they work 24/7. And they can build pipe 84 inches in diameter up to 50 feet long. We're looking at 26 to 2,800 feet a day, roughly a half a mile a day. 200 miles is 400 working days. So we're looking at about 2 years, 24 months or so, construction time from beginning to end. With Estancia in the middle, we anticipate within 2 years, 2.5 years, we can be delivering water here. Manufacturing the pipe locally will provide us with better quality control, better logistics control, and it'll save us about $100 per linear foot transportation cost, plus provide the 260 local permanent skill jobs. The pipe will be 36-inch welded steel lined with cement mortar coated with plastic for corrosion protection. We'll put in the manufacturing facility here in the Edgewood area, provide the 235 jobs, and we've already talked about what it'll do on a daily basis. This is a couple of pictures, and Clifford Honey can get into the details of the pipe manufacturing more. The steel comes in coils. It's stretched out, 4 welding heads, computerized, or weld the seams inside out to the length that's necessary. It's cut to length, it's pressure tested, and then it's coated and lined and ready to ship to the construction site. Interbasin transfers, there's nothing new or different about them. These interbasin transfers have been ongoing since 1850. The first one was when the farmers at Embudo moved water out of the Canadian Basin into the Rio Grande Basin. The San Juan Chama, everybody knows about, which is part of our Upper Colorado adjudication, moved into the Rio Grande Basin, the Middle Rio Grande. There's also the Navajo line that comes out of the part of the San Juan, the Upper Colorado adjudication down to Gallup to provide water for all that checkerboardy country. The Ute project, which brings water, Canadian Basin water, out of Ute Lake down to Curry County and Portales. And then the Bonito pipeline was put in the late 1800s by the railroads to take water to the Union Pacific for their steam engines. That was later sold to the city of Alamogordo and supplies water to Alamogordo and Holloman Air Force Base. The Lee County Basin water moves from there to Carlsbad, which is a part of the lower Pecos Basin. That was put in by the potash industries for processing potash, and then later acquired by the town of Carlsbad for some of their domestic water. And then the Nuthocket project was put in the 1980s to move water out of the Nuthocket Basin there into the lower Rio Grande. So we're not doing anything new or different. There's certain areas you cannot move water rights from. One is Indian Reserve water rights. You can't move from the Pueblos, the Navajos, Jicarillas, Mescaleros. You can lease water and use it on a temporary basis with certain restrictions, but you can't move it for permanent development and so forth. Same thing with federal irrigation projects. I did get 3,000 acre feet moved from the Carlsbad Irrigation District to the lake at Fort Sumner for the permanent pool for the game and fish. The district sued and said that water rights don't belong to the individual, they belong to the district. The state Supreme Court ruled they belong to the individual, but the district has police power, and by moving the water out, we would create economic hardship for the remaining users, so they have to approve or not approve, and none of them will ever approve moving water out of their districts. An alternate supply of water has to be valid and sufficient water rights. The rights have to be of sufficient sustainability to meet Santa Fe County, Bernalillo County, and Sandoval County's 50 to 70-year longevity requirement. The production has to be of sufficient quantity to be a large enough scale to make the project economically viable. It has to be of good quality to meet EPA and NMED drinking water standards. You have to have a viable route. Right-of-way has to be free of cultural, T&E, and hazmat issues. You have to be able to deliver water at an acceptable price somewhere within the existing market, preferably. And of course, meet all state engineer requirements. You can move the consumptive irrigation requirement. This project will reduce the diversion from the appropriation to the CIR to compensate for the lack of return flow at the move from location, and that's the volume of water that we can export from there. This is a map of the Estancia Basin and the neighboring basins, and as you can see, the Fort Sumner Basin appears to be the most logical, viable place to consider moving water from. Fort Sumner Basin, these are marginal farms. They're marginal from an economic production standpoint. All the inputs have to be imported, everything produced has to be exported. There's no labor supply for high-income crops, et cetera, et cetera. We've optioned some water rights and purchased others. And we have developed a contract with the town of Edgewood that meets the sustainability requirements to provide growth for approximately 15 years. We're agreeing to move 2,000 acre feet, 651 million gallons a year into the Edgewood area. State engineer permitting requirement process, if you're not familiar with that, we file our applications, then the state engineer will review them, provide us with a form of public notice, and tell us where we need to publish it. Once we get it published, we have to publish it once a week for 3 weeks, and then you can protest up to 10 days after the date of the last publication. If we have protests and we can't resolve them, then we request a hearing. The first step in the hearing process is a scheduling conference. At the scheduling conference, then we will be given a date to submit our witness list, our experts, our hydrologists, economists, environmentalists, et cetera. The protestants will be given a date to submit their witness lists. Then we have a discovery process, just like any other lawsuit, and then close the discovery, a settlement conference, and then if we required, we go to hearing, and then the state engineer will issue a decision afterward. The process is a quasi-judicial administrative hearing. It's an objective process based on the facts presented, not a subjective process. The state engineer will look at the specific identification of the move from location, the specific identification of the move to location. We'll be sure that we don't impair any other water right users. The new use of water will be used with good conservation practices, and granting of the application will be a benefit to the public welfare of the state as a whole, and he typically looks at the environmental impacts and the economic impacts. This is a map of where we'll be moving the water from. These are the wells, the file numbers, little flags is their location. This is the same group here. Bohannon Houston did a technical feasibility analysis for us and says, in summary, the conceptual hydraulic analysis demonstrates the transport of water from Fort Sumner to the Estancia Basin is technically feasible. None of the elements appear to have obstacles that are beyond normal processing requirements for a project of this size. Atkins Engineering did a sustainability analysis for us and says that at the allotted rates, reducing to the CIR, we have in excess of 100 years sustainable supply of water. We've also had step tests done, 72-hour step tests by other hydrologists. We've got transmissivity losses or calculations by other hydrologists, as well as other hydrologic analysis done. This is one copy of one well water quality. It's 667 parts TDS. 1,000 parts TDS is the maximum contaminant level allowed by the EPA and NMED. We anticipate, if necessary, we can treat. About 25% of the wells will exceed the limit, but we will treat those down to where they need to be. Water hardness is significantly different. The water hardness here is 33 to 53 grains per gallon. Our water is 8 to 9 grains per gallon. The current monthly cost of water here, based on various analysis, runs about $50, $60, well, $60, give or take, for the water bill, plus most people buy bottled water to drink, and they'll spend as much as $45, $50 additional for somewhere around $100 a month on water. The project is administratively feasible. We meet OSE requirements, EPA requirements. It's technically feasible. There's power available, right-of-way, construction. For installation of the pipe and valves, we'll put in a new SCADA system. We'll bore under several highways, 2 interstates, railroads, and 2 rivers. It is, from a capital cost standpoint, it is economically feasible. From an operating cost standpoint, it's economically feasible, and it's politically feasible. It's a private solution to a public problem, and it's consistent with the Move From Areas Regional Water Plan and moving water from its lowest economic use to its highest economic use. And if there's any questions or comments or somebody want additional information, I'm happy to respond. Yes, sir?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, did you say that you've already had a contract with Edgewood?
Yes,
When was that done?
a few weeks ago.
Thank you.
2 weeks ago? Why wasn't the town notified?
A few weeks ago, and it was voted on in open session.
No.
What's
The commissioner said it was.
What's the total cost of the project?
Well, that's proprietary.
Who's paying for the project?
I am.
Let me get the mic.
How are you coming into the existing service areas? Legally coming into the existing service areas?
We're not a utility. We're simply a wholesaler of water. We're supplying utilities. We're working with Estancia, EMWT, several other of the communities, as well as Jack Torres requested water at Bernalillo. We're working with people in Los Lunas. They need 3,600 acre feet and others.
So you're not gonna provide retail,
No,
so you're only gonna sell water to the existing providers?
to utilities.
Right.
An additional question for myself is, as I was previously asking, what commitments have already been made? You said a couple of weeks ago there was a
I
contract
said
signed?
a few weeks ago.
Few weeks ago?
Yeah, I don't know precisely, but it's been a few weeks ago.
All right. And
We've been working on it for, what, 2-3 months?
can we receive a copy of that through the town?
I'll check with legal counsel and see what it should be.
And my last question is, what are the long-term costs and what benefits, other than the water itself, does this region get out of it? maintenance. Who's paying for this overall? Is it the state? Is there federal funding that's
It's
coming through
private
this?
funding,
Private?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And we want to deliver it within the current functioning market.
All right, thank you.
Economic development, jobs, and you don't have a sustainable supply of water at this point, let alone the quality.
Well, I'd have to disagree with that, but I won't. What if the municipalities here in this area don't really need to buy your water?
Then we go on down the road. The pipeline's going to go all the way around the backside of Albuquerque down to I-40.
Okay, so the business
There's
model.
80,000 acre feet needed, we've got 30.
Yeah.
First in line is this part of the world. First come, first serves, who we'll sell to. If you want it, fine. If you don't, do without.
So, yeah, the business model does not rely on providing water to these smaller communities, right?
Not necessarily. We're happy to supply water to them, ones that need them and want it.
Good.
But they can't buy the entire 30,000 acre feet.
Yep, that's true.
How much of the 30,000 acre feet is planned to come to Estancia Basin?
Well, the Estancia itself is 2,000. Edgewood itself. Estancia we're negotiating with. McIntosh needs water. We've also negotiations with Moriarty and others. We don't have an answer till we get the contract signed. It's available if they want it.
Do I understand you have all 30,000 acre feet of water rights acquired?
No, we have some option and we have some acquired.
Some option, some acquired. Can I ask where
No,
they're coming from or what their current use is?
current use is irrigated agriculture.
Irrigated agriculture. So I have a couple questions going back to your slideshow. There was one slide that said that the Office of the State Engineer did not permit transfers out of the Fort Sumner Basin.
No, I didn't say that.
I've got a picture of it. It was on the very bottom. I just wanted, not trying to pick a fight, just trying to get clarification on it.
Where?
I believe it was one of the legal slides.
Yeah. Should be able to.
Federal irrigation projects, water rights that cannot be moved, Fort Sumner Irrigation District.
Yeah, we can't move it from the irrigation district, but we're not moving it from the irrigation district. We're moving it from the Fort Sumner Basin from individually owned private wells that are not
Okay.
part of the district.
Is there any concern about the impacts of this move negatively impacting the irrigation
The
district?
600,000 acre feet a year used in the Lower Pecos Basin, I have the right to consume 2.5% of that. It makes no difference if I stand on the banks of the river and consume it there, or if I put it in a truck and bring it over here, or if I put it through a pipeline. The impacts on the river is the same.
I understand and respect your response there. I'm asking these questions out of concern for not anticipating some of the issues that might arise, kind of like what we did with the lower Rio Grande Basin and the recent settlement with Texas and the legal connection being established between surface water and irrigation water. And I'd hate for you to put a bunch of money into.
I don't understand your question.
The question is, have we really vetted out whether or not
Yeah,
this
we
is a
have.
sustainable source? Because
Yes, we have.
there's a couple red flags that pop up right away.
Yeah, we have edited it out. We have sustainability analysis by Atkins. We have sustainability analysis by about 5 other hydrologist groups.
All right, one other question then. Do you know if this basin is closed to new applications for commercial water right applications?
Sure it is.
Okay, so
Most all basins in New Mexico are closed for new applications.
are you aware of what the standard for closing the basin to a new water right application is?
I can't regurgitate those. I've been involved in a couple of them that have been open but are now closed.
80% chance of well failure within 40 years is the legal standard for closing the basin to new water right applications.
Well, each basin is different. There's a different basin management criteria. Just like here, it's managed in each small area is a critical management area. You can't move your wells from one location to another. You can pipe water from one location to another. But just because a basin's closed doesn't mean it's going to dry up in whatever time frame you said. I mean, some do, some don't. There's some basins that are geologically closed that don't have any recharge, like this one, like the Carcelia Valley south of Deming. And then there's other basins like the Nuthocket, the Fort Sumner, and others that have large volumes of water that recharges on an annual basis. I have a similar USGS, one of their monitoring wells there, and it's been steady for the last 60 years, so. No, we're not pumping from the Ogallala. No, no. I know where it's coming from. It's not coming from the Ogallala.
Hi. I have not missed a meeting in a few weeks, and I do not remember this coming up and being voted on in open session at all. So I would like to know, wherever Kelly is, what the date of that meeting was and what time, because as far as I know, I've been to every single meeting.
That was done on June 23rd, and the vote was taken right after the closed session. The closed session was talking about the acquisition of water rights. I won't go and read the whole thing.
We had no idea at all what that was because it was in closed session, so
And then the motion to go ahead and pass it was to direct Manager Hamilton to sign the contingency water rights acquisition agreement along with a public presentation at the next regular town meeting on July 14th, 2026. Commissioner Murillo seconded the motion. No further discussion. And it was passed
don't
unanimously.
you think it would have been open and transparent to actually, at that point after closed session, to tell us what it was you were really up to? Second of all,
It's
I
the
don't
purchase
want to
of wa-
live,
It's the
excuse
purchase of
me.
water rights. That's what we're up to.
Well, we had no idea that it involved a private source and a pipeline going 200 miles, a manufacturing plant out here, or the route that it was taking. That is not very transparent at all. If I wanted to live in Rio Rancho where there was manufacturing, I would have moved to Rio Rancho or Los Lunas. And I certainly would oppose this project. If this project was truly viable, then it would be up on that wall as a federal irrigation project and not up to the 6,000 plus relatives of the people of the town of Edgewood to figure out private funding for all this.
Sir, is this going to be, your presentation going to be available online?
No.
It's, okay, I'll visit with him and we'll figure out something. Okay, I can get it online, something, okay.
At some point, when we file our applications with the state engineer, publish public notices and so forth.
Okay, but the people, I guess my question is, the people who were not here at this meeting, they need to be able to see this. No matter where they sit on this project, they need to be able to see this too.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. What is Edgewood's current water usage based on your projections and your presentation?
1,000 acre feet a year, right at it.
So this would give us double that. Okay. You've answered most of my questions. Then this question is, what happens to EPCOR? EPCOR will become one of your customers, or could be one of your
I have
customers.
not negotiated anything with EPCOR. We're
Okay.
going to sell the utilities. EPCOR's relationships with the city, not mine.
Okay. And then this is more for the town. Is the town anticipating any storage capabilities to store water in the event that we have disruption to the pipeline or other contingencies that require reserve water? And I know you
Those are planned for in our plans. We anticipate storage tanks.
here in our area.
And we will do some hydrologic analysis to look at aquifer injection withdrawal also.
That's a good answer. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, in addition, we'll run fiber optics along the pipeline for our booster pumps, as well as pressure and corrosion monitoring.
Well, I have a question for you, and this is from an article I pulled from the internet today, and it's from Source, New Mexico, and it's a Fed's award of $77 million to rural New Mexico water pipeline project, which this is a project going on in the southern part of the state. For those who aren't aware of it, it's been going on off and on for about the past 50 years. oops, sorry, forget the mic. My understanding is, although there's federal money, there is still an ongoing lawsuit. According to this, a judge in August, this is August last year, granted a motion to dismiss portions of the lawsuit brought by the government entities such as Quay County and the Village of Logan. The case is scheduled to go to trial this summer, court records show. So my concern is this town getting involved with someone, and this is on the Berendo pipeline, same company.
No, it isn't. We have nothing to do with that project.
You have nothing to do with that project at all?
No, we do not. That's a federal project to provide water to Clovis, Cannon Air Force Base, et cetera. It's one of the interbasin transfers that I showed. We don't have anything to do with that.
Okay, so then my next question is, this project, the same type of project was looked at back in 2017, I believe, unless my memory is completely fried.
My project was not looked at in 2017.
There was a water project looked at 10 years ago, and
There was,
the state, may I
Augustine
finish,
plan.
please?
Sure.
The state engineer shot it out of the water saying, no, not gonna happen. So here again, there are issues with regard to piping water across this state, regardless of where it comes from, whether it's the Ute Basin, whether it's Ogallala, wherever. There are still issues with stuff being piped to this part of the state from either east, north, or west. My other objection to this pipeline business is running it anywhere close to or nearby Campbell Ranch. I don't think that should happen, and according to what I saw up there or read in one of the articles I was reading, that this is going to run by Campbell Ranch, and I have huge objections to that because I do not want this town to end up having to pay for water for Campbell Ranch. Thank you.
So has the town of Edgewood given you money?
No.
When are they gonna give you money?
We're filing applications for funding, and I'm working with E.F. Hutton. We have a closing date set sometime several months in the future.
A closing date with the town of Edgewood?
I'm sorry?
A closing date with the town of Edgewood?
Yeah, we haven't set a closing date yet, but it'll be sometime in the distant future.
Contingencies, Mayor, that have to be met, but we haven't get to that point.
And so what's the town of Edgewood going to do with this water?
Supply the citizenry.
Oh, yeah, you have a pipeline to supply the citizenry? Yeah, it takes lots of pipes to go to our homes. The only pipes in this town are owned by EPCOR. They're not going to sell them. Do you know Tom Torres? Do you know Tom Torres?
He's saying they're not buying the distribution systems. They're just delivering water.
How do they deliver water without a distribution system?
At a certain point, whenever the utility they agree to, you can deliver it.
He's going to put in a new set of pipes in town of, he's going to put in new.
Distribution, they're going to build the transmission. Really, the question is, what's it going to cost per thousand?
It'll be less than the $100. It'll be comparable to what people are paying now.
$100 per acre foot?
No.
Per acre?
On a 1,000-gallon basis, it'll be somewhere in the $65 to $70 per monthly. It'll be somewhere in the $10, $15 a 1,000 gallon. It's going to depend on the utility. We're selling water to the town, and they'll determine the price to the end user.
So the town's going to put in, new pipelines all over town to distribute the water to my house?
Well, no, if you don't want any water, we don't run any lines there.
How are you going to distribute the water to the citizens of Edgewood?
We're not necessarily distributing to the citizens of Edgewood. It may be that the water we sell, it keeps going right on down to the transmission line, and we end up selling to the end point of it. Am I correct, Ron?
Yeah, it's your
We're
water.
not necessarily selling to the citizens of Edgewood.
It's private property. You can do with it as you wish.
So you're buying the water and selling it to Las Cruces?
No.
I'm sorry, to Bernalillo. You're going to sell water to Bernalillo?
I'm not saying we are. I'm saying that's an option.
So I can't imagine you filling trucks here and running around town of Edgewood with trucks to fill our tanks.
Not happening. Not happening, man.
So what is the town actually going to buy from this company? Is it water rights?
Yes.
You're buying water rights from them? And those water rights are from those wells we saw down over there at Fort Sumner.
Yes,
So they're buying water rights from Fort Sumner. Is that right?
yes.
Yes.
Water rights from Fort Sumner.
So let's look at the future growth of Edgewood. Potentially, that could be very valuable as we continue to grow. We're growing at a 5 to 6% rate. EPCOR at some point, or Entronosa, may want to purchase water from this transmission line. And don't let me speak for Entronosa or EPCOR in any fashion. We're not trying to get in the water utility business to sell to individual people there at all.
So at some point, if EPCOR needs the water, you'd sell it to them.
We would, yeah, if we reached the right agreement.
Well,
I see Mr. Torres shaking his head, so I think there's an opportunity
We're
there.
a regulated utility, and this would be public information of what our customers can afford to pay. And that's what it comes
Okay. Actually, there is a bottom. Our aquifer here in this Tennessee Valley has a bottom. The wells are going dry all over the county, and so there is a bottom. So EPCOR will run out of water at some point because all the there's a bottom to the aquifer somewhere.
Okay, let me address that. EPCOR's not gonna run out of water, because we're always gonna be looking for water, so. So EPCOR is not gonna run out of water, because we will be looking for water, water sources. Pardon me? Correct. We are in Clovis. We're in Clovis, and we're doing the same thing. We're buying water, we're leasing water, we expect to get water from the Water Authority, and this is one example of a possible source of water. But of course, in the end, the question is going to be, how much is it going to cost each individual? And that's really what it is. Don't be afraid of pipelines, but we all have to pay bills. We need to know what it costs, period.
Thank you.
So I have the survey that was over here. Question number 2, would you have interest in connecting your home to a new water supply utility? What water supply utility are we talking about?
We're not talking about any specific water utility.
So what's the purpose of this question if we have no idea what the water supply utility is going to be? I mean,
I don't have an answer for you, you know, that's.
I don't understand the purpose of this question.
I think a better question is who put out that questionnaire? The one that he just read off of?
It was suggested by a previous council member.
So you put it out? Who did?
I don't know who, quote, put it out. We put together some questions in coordination with the city council and city commissioners. And
Okay, let me make it more clear. Who put it on this table?
I don't know.
Anybody on the commission know?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
My executive administrative assistant.
Thank you. That's all we needed to know. Next. Oh, I'm sorry.
So there's some questions you haven't answered. Is this going to be a concern for Texas? Isn't the Pecos
No.
River? No,
No.
because they're only committed to the river, not the individual wells. Is that where the law
Texas
reads?
sued New Mexico in the 80s. I forget when the conclusion came about, but in the late 90s, they started a process of acquiring water rights. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that New Mexico had to increase the stream flow by 50,000 acre-feet a year. And they bought several water rights in the Carlsbad area, mostly in the Roswell-Artesia Basin. These water rights were too far north. There was a 75% carriage loss through evaporation and seepage from the gauging station at Fort Sumner to the gauging station on the river at north of Roswell. The state engineer and the hydrologist realized that none of this water would ever make it to the state line to solve the issue with Texas. The state spent $300 million building drilling wells, buying water rights, and entering into a settlement agreement that supposedly has resolved all of that.
Is part of this, is this water going to go to Santa Fe? Or is it only intended to go toward Rio Rancho and Los
At
Linus?
this point, we have no intention of going to Santa Fe. Maybe a future project, but not this one.
Okay, it seems odd to me that you've come to a small town like Edgewood that doesn't have much money, instead of going to Albuquerque or Rio Rancho to do this.
We're going to Albuquerque and Rio Rancho.
Are they buying into this? Are they putting money into this?
We're in negotiations. Yeah,
So it's just a manufacturing plant you're considering putting in Edgewood, but all these other towns that you've mentioned are going to be putting money into this.
If they want water rights, they're going to be buying it. They're not going to be putting money into the project per se.
Okay, they're going to be buying water rights, and that's what Edgewood's doing, buying water rights.
Yes.
Okay, who's paying for this plant and all that? Where's that funding coming from?
It'll come from, the vast majority of it's from E.F. Hutton, and we will buy pipe to make this, to build this pipeline. Okay. You want to talk about the pipeline, Clifford?
If you don't mind, a couple other people have been waiting patiently to ask questions.
Mine's very brief. Where can I find the PowerPoint that you just presented? Do you have a website, or is the town going to publish it?
I don't believe so. I think Kelly answered that question earlier. We'll figure out something for information.
Yeah, I'd
That's
like to
the
see
private
it. You went through it kind of fast. It was interesting, and I'd like to see it again. So it'd be nice if the town put it out.
I'll work
Be
with
great.
Mr. Green and see, it's his PowerPoint, but I'll work with him and see if we can't get it posted.
Oh, good. Thanks, Kelly.
On the posting online, it says there was conducted extensive water rights, engineering, environmental, economic, and hydrologic studies. Are those going to be made available to the public?
Through the state engineer hearing process, yes.
And when does that process begin?
Whenever I file the applications with the state engineer.
Is there anything that is holding you back at this point
I'm not
from
quite
doing that?
ready yet. We have a lot of planning to do. We've got
Oh, yeah, I
2 months
understand. Yeah,
so
I know it's a lot of
When
planning.
it gets to the right time, we'll file the applications. with
Okay.
Change in place and purpose of use.
Thank you.
Gene's done it.
Kelly, who did you get the questionnaire from before you put it on the table, and who came up with the questions?
My administrative executive assistant brought it to me, and I'm assuming that it came from Ron,
Mike Reardon was,
or Mike Reardon was also involved in it, I guess. But I did not create it, no.
200 miles is a long way to go. Are we expecting any fights over eminent domain, or are we going to be stealing any property from private property owners, or what kind of legal battles can we anticipate to get a right-of-way 200 miles?
we have the right of eminent domain if necessary. The only issue so far has been how many cows can I water out of this line?
So we could end up getting sued by landowners along the way if they don't want to give up their property.
No, you can't be sued. We will sue the landowners to acquire their property.
So we're
but
going to
we
be
can't sue
suing
you.
landowners and take...
No, we aren't. I am.
You are.
not. The city
Well,
is
I don't
not.
care who sues a landowner. I don't want somebody losing their land
They won't lose
along the way. I wouldn't want EPCOR to sue me to make their pipes bigger in front of my house. Not that you would, Tom, but just using that as an example. I don't want to be suing anybody, and I wouldn't want anyone to be sued upon my behalf.
Well, it's for the public good.
It's for
a
your
right of-
good,
no,
sir. It's a
for the
private
public
deal.
good. This
It's
is
a private deal, sir. You're a private company, and I've seen you sitting out in that hallway for well over the past year coming in for private sessions. I recognize you, sir.
I haven't been here for the past year.
Just one other quick question. Have you had any discussions with the Campbell Corporation about providing water for their development?
a year or so ago?
The town has not, in any fashion, had any conversations with Campbell Ranch for water.
Miss-
None.
We haven't.
Zero. None.
I met with Gately several years ago. He's got to have a developer. He's got to have capital to buy water rights, develop land, et cetera. And as far as I know, he's not in position to do that.
So currently not one of the people who signed on with an MOU to say we'll buy it and
No,
do it?
no.
Thank you.
Kelly, are we going to move forward with the other gentleman's presentation? Or do you have another question?
While we're waiting for that question, just going to your question about Campbell Ranch, I remember you very specifically, you're very passionate. Please don't forget, July 2025, I motioned to deny the application for Campbell Ranch. The men up here with me denied that. Your concerns with Campbell Ranch are the same concerns that we have, and I don't want people to forget that, because I know most recently I've been accused of annexing Campbell Ranch into the town of Edgewood. That was December 2001. I was playing C-team basketball at Moriarty. Well, go Pintos, you know what I mean? And so I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And as always, I know folks have reached out to me before, but I want it to be very clear that of the people that stood up to Campbell Ranch, we were the ones that did that. We heard what you all had to say. We respected what you had to say. We looked into it. We investigated. We took the time to go through that. And mind you, last year was a nightmare doing it, 2 or 3 times with Campbell Ranch. I know you were there each time, and I hope your farm is doing well with the hogs and all that. But, I just want to make that clear, that ultimately at the end of the day, the number one thing I've heard since I got here is we're worried about water. Complaining about the quality of the water. I know EPCOR, I know Intranosa, they've been busting their butt. I think they're doing a good job. I don't have a problem with the water in Edgewood personally. I've grown up drinking that water. That's probably why I do some crazy things and serve as a commissioner, right? And so, but what I'm trying to say is, there's a need for water, there's an interest in water, here's a possible opportunity for water. I know the town manager, Kelly, all the commissioners, including Commissioner Taylor and Commissioner Raritan, before he resigned, we were all at the table talking about this. We did come out of closed session, we did talk about it, and we did direct the town manager to do it. Once the town manager was able to enter that, there was a ton of contingencies placed in there to protect the town of Edgewood. So if something doesn't go right, we're out. It's that simple. But at the end of the day, because it's big and scary and a lot, doesn't mean we shouldn't at least pursue it. We shouldn't at least look into it. I know we were very adamant about getting this presentation, right? Transparency. We wanted to put this all in front of you. And Mr. Green, not his father, but Mr. Ron Green, said to us very specifically that he would love to do a presentation, and if we need to do another presentation, we'll do another presentation. If we need to have a bigger forum, we'll have a bigger forum. If we need to go to EBCA and rent out their big room so we can get all 6,000 residents in Edgewood there to do it, let's do that. This is just the beginning conversation. We just started here. I think our town manager's probably met the most talking about it. We're interested, and I think it's worthwhile to continue these conversations moving forward. But all that to basically say, the whole Campbell Ranch thing, we were the guys that stood in the gap against that. So I wouldn't think that Campbell Ranch is being...
And ended up in a lawsuit because of it, so they're actively suing us because of it, so.
And I deeply appreciate you guys for doing it, and I brought it up just because the website does say specifically that it will be going alongside Campbell Ranch and specifies it's not going through Campbell Ranch, so there's obviously people wondering about it, so I just wanted you to
besides water, they would have to come up with a whole bunch of laundry list of other things before they'll ever get approval for that, so.
And I can go back in and alter that website and say this is not a Campbell County or Campbell Ranch project, if that helps. Do you think that would help?
It might save you a bunch of phone calls.
I'll do it then.
And one of the big pushing factors for us too is we didn't want to end up like our neighbors like in Estancia with wells in a few years going dry. So we're looking for long-term options that can sustain the town of Edgewood and future generations as well.
Okay,
Yeah, this is a plan to provide water for this town for the long-term future. All right, we're talking a future where most of us will be already in the ground by the time that happens. All right, so we need to make sure that our families that grow up here have ample water. And you can keep shaking your head all day long, but water is something that is needed. Everybody needs water. The one thing that's true about life, without water, you die within about 3 or 4 days
yeah,
without water.
none of us knew that. Thank you for sharing that with us. We had no idea. I'm happy to hear from Commissioner Murillo that you have contingencies. Now, I hope the contract that you're signed with this company includes those contingencies, because owning water rights in Fort Sumner are no good. I'd like to put some explanation, some swear words in there. There's no damn good unless you got a pipeline. And I'm really concerned about when's the pipeline going to be built, because you're selling water rights to all these potential users, including Campbell Ranch. They'll be wanting to buy some. But anyway, how many water rights do you have to sell before you can build a pipeline? You're going to sell all the water rights you have down there? What percentage of the water rights do you have to sell before you can build a pipe?
I think we can hear that in the next presentation, can't we, sir?
The pipeline's private money. I don't have anything to do with your money or Ron's money or anything. So the pipe plant to manufacture the pipe, I'm going to talk about.
Okay, well, I would, as a citizen of Edgewood, and you're using money of the town of Edgewood to buy these water rights, I think the town has a right to know what the contingencies. The contingency must include a pipeline. Water rights down there are no good without it, so the contingency must include a pipeline.
And that is part of it, and that's what the discussions have been about, that the water rights are no good to us unless the water can get here. And that's where the pipeline comes in. So until that pipeline gets here, we're not going to be buying that water yet. It's got to get here. Just like electricity, you can buy all the electricity you want but you can't use it until they bring you a power line to your house or to your town. Water and electricity, no difference. You got to have some way to transmit it from the source to the user. And that's what I think our next discussion is going to be about, is building this pipe, the pipe plant that's going to be building this pipes and provide jobs for people here in Edgewood, which has always been one of the biggest complaints. There's not enough good-paying jobs in Edgewood. This is going to be providing 200 to 250 good-paying jobs that's going to be around for quite a while. And go ahead.
Okay, I'm here to talk about a steel pipe factory project plan to manufacture steel pressure pipe. I should turn that around. There we go. Hi, I am with Central New Mexico Steel Pipe. It's a group of individuals that have been working with New Mexico Sustainable Water to put a pipe plant in New Mexico. There's a tremendous amount of projects upcoming in New Mexico, primarily because you're running out of well water. Not only are you running out of it, but it's becoming poisonous because of the heavy metals in it. And so for many, many years, I've run a pipe plant manufacturing facility, many facilities in the U.S., and we had a steel pressure pipe plant we put in Central Texas, and we ship manufactured steel pressure pipe, the same type I'm talking about building in Central New Mexico, hundreds of miles to pipes being put in all over the U.S. Pipe, put it on a truck, about 50, depending on the size of the pipe, it can be 50 foot, it can be 4 36-inch pipes, and ship it 500-600 miles. It's very expensive, and it's very difficult to put in long pressure pipes. There are hundreds of miles of water pressure pipe around the U.S. If you come to DFW and you drink any water in DFW, it goes through a pressure pipe to get to your facility. It's all throughout DFW, and almost all of them are Gifford Hill pipe, which I ran for many years. But that's really not why I'm here today. But I want to talk about today a steel pressure pipe facility in the area. And whether it's in Edgewood or Moriarty, in the general area, so New Mexico shares in the economic expansion that these pipes bring. These pressure pipes, this is not a one-year project. This is a forever project. When we build a pipe plant, we're talking about a pipe plant. The total project will be approximately $100 million. And we don't build these for one pipe job. So we intend on providing pipe throughout New Mexico and the adjoining states. But we're currently working with New Mexico Water, and currently the project we're working on, our primary starting project, is the pipeline that Ron's been talking about. In addition to that pipeline, a few projects that were mentioned in his presentation, Ute Lake Project, Salt Basin Project, Nut Hocket Project, Navajo Project in Four Corners, those are all very substantial pipe jobs. The pipe job we're talking about for this particular location is a 36-inch pipe. This pipe plant will manufacture 20 to 84-inch pipe. It's a steel pipe. You weld it together. I'm going to go through it. And you coat it with a polyurethane on the outside, and you put a concrete liner in it. Very simple, nothing toxic. There's not a lot to it. And so the project scope that we're talking about is design, engineer, and construct a steel pipe plant that can start delivery in 27 or 28. Kind of depends on when we have the first project under contract, we can start our construction project. The plant layout, the details, we've got those complete. They're not tied to any specific piece of property currently. I have looked at 4 pieces of property, a couple in this area, a couple within 15 miles of here. There are various sites available for this pipe plant. You have to do your production profiles, your cost profiles, how much it costs, cost per foot, because eventually we have to sell it to Ron or whoever builds the pipeline at a competitive price. This is just building a factory to make pipe. Why build a factory? Well, the reason we want to build it is, one, it's very difficult to do pipelines when the pipe has to be trucked hundreds and hundreds of miles, because they string this pipeline and then they start laying it, and they can lay a significant amount of pipe. I think Ron mentioned earlier, for 36-inch pipe, we can make around 2,600 foot a week of pressure pipe, and if it's here, he can put that in, he can put that in the ground next week. And so if it's in Dallas, you've got to logistically put that many hundreds of trucks up here and get them back and all that. And so really, it's all about putting something locally that helps pipe jobs come into New Mexico, and New Mexico shares in the taxing benefits of a business in town. Timing is very critical, and quality control is critical, because when you put a pipe on a truck, it vibrates, it bounces, and they have wrecks. And so all those separate things, when the pipeline and the pipe plant is within a few hundred miles, it's very, very efficient, and it helps the costs go down for the pipe jobs installation. And so that's why we started looking. I think Ron's been working with someone prior to me anyway, for years and years and years, about a pipe plant locally in New Mexico. And it's really for the benefit of New Mexico. The project is a design, build a state-of-the-art steel fabrication plant. I know you guys have visions of that, but the entire facility, including the concrete plant that makes the concrete that goes inside the pipe, is all under roof. I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. It's going to take us about 20 to 22 months to build the pipe plant. And that's after really we get the permits, the zoning and everything, and the community accepts it prior to our start. It's just a normal construction project. Our current forecast is in the $84 million range, and there's a lot of carrying costs. There's major pieces of equipment. One of the primary drivers on the time is the welding machine that makes this 20 to 82-inch, 84-inch pipe comes from Turkey, and the lead time on that's a year. So in order to get that started, we have to get it funded and get it started. And so it's really all about providing a pipe facility. This particular pipe facility, these aren't blue-collar, low-end jobs. These jobs are going to pay top dollar. Our basic employee is going to earn, with overtime, about $86,000 a year at the current wage rates. So these aren't non-educated. We really intend on adding a usable blue-collar job in the area that we're going to have a lot of trouble getting these people. I mean, there's not excess 200 employees in this area, so we're going to have to, generate that for people to come see us. And so really our annual wages for the facility will be in excess of $14 million a year. So it's not a smoky, dirty pit. The material we put on the outside of the pipe is polyurethane. It's not paint. There is no stack. There is no material coming out of the ventilation coming out of the pipe plant. It's a solid. When we put it on the pipe, it's dry. It's a solid. On the inside, it's concrete. It is a concrete plant enclosed. We put in a mortar mix in the mix. There's no dust involved. We recycle the water. I'll show you some pictures. But it's really renewable solution for power, water, and raw materials going forward. We believe that we can give back to the community, and we're very committed to being local in education. The first responder services, STEM, which is science. I wrote that down since I always forget what STEM is. It's science, technology. And I am an engineer, but my short-term memory is going pretty quickly. But we're very committed to being active with the local communities, because a lot of our workers will come out of school. We're going to train them. The state's going to provide some funding for that, for training employees, blue-collar employees. And we will be using AI, and we'll be training our people to use AI. I mean, some of the stuff on this pipe plant, I built basically this almost exact footprint 20 years ago, is totally new. There's no welding rods. It's all high-tech. It's laser welding. It's kind of new technology, but it's a really nice project, and it'll be a really good employer and, be a good person in the community, a company in the community. The project team is Chris Sauermans, our CEO. He's a professional engineer. He's currently working full-time and was unable to make it. Chris, most of these guys worked for me when I ran the pressure pipe plant in Texas for 10 years. But Chris is a professional engineer. He's got 25 years. He's currently working on 2 large construction projects, and he's done 7 jobs building facilities. I think the biggest one we built was probably $70 million. So we're familiar with it. Greg, the Executive Vice President, Greg Popko, has 35 years in the pressure pipe business. He was the first plant manager of that first steel pressure pipe plant that was built. He's also done the wind towers and some of those projects. Calvin Swank is a CPA, VP of Finance. He's got 35 years in pipe, precast, and construction, concrete, and aggregates. I've got 35 years experience in the industry. I've done aggregates, concrete, pressure pipe, and I've also grown businesses, and I've worked all over the world in this. And so I've got a pretty good resume. And Mike Schrum, he'll be our VP of Operations. He'll be a board member along with me. Mike is an electrical expert. He'll be helping us put the electrical part of the plant together and all the auto controls that go with it. I'm not going to go through this because this is not my specialty, but these are this is a design of the plant. This is a spiral weld machine. This is the layout to the, I'll tell you on the pictures, the line runs this way, the pipe goes through this machine, it's cut, it comes off, it gets hydrostatically tested. Once it passes every piece of pipe is hydrostatically tested with water. Then it goes into you do the liner first, and then it goes from the liner, it goes through a sandblasting machine, all enclosed. And then after the sandblasting machine, it goes into the polyurethane machine, and it spits it out the other end as a piece of pressure pipe from really 22 is pretty tight on this size machine, but we can do 22 to 84, 86-inch pipe. Just to give you an idea, we're talking about roughly 300,000 square foot building under roof. It's got to be heated, doesn't have to be cool, but it'll have to be heated. There'll be a group of offices inside, about 4,000 square foot of offices, 26 of them. There's 11,000 square foot of maintenance facility. We'll have a facility inside that we can make the corners and the pieces. And we'll work basically 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Here's the pictures of it. And the one thing I want to point out about the pictures is this is how they look all the time. If the plant doesn't look this clean, the people don't work there very long because this equipment doesn't work well in dust. But this is the pipe. Oh, sorry about that. This is the pipe that we take it off a spiral. These spiral welds will come in by rail in Albuquerque, our rail distribution facility. We will bring them in by truck. We will stack them inside the building. Then they come off this weld. They go through this welding machine. Then they come over here and they get the ends cut off and beveled. Both ends are manufactured to whatever that standard is. Then they come over here, they get hydrostatically tested, and they come down here and they get mortar lined. What they do on this is they drop that pipe on there, they put wet mortar in it while it's spinning. Then we turn the speed up, it drives the water out, and then we cure that pipe with steam, put a closure on the end, it cures for 8 hours, and then we take that pipe, we sandblast it here, and then it goes, cleans, and then it goes through the polyurethane liner. It's pretty simple, but it takes a lot of area because these are 50-foot sections. This is kind of our schedule. We're in that phase right now, the funding phase. Like I mentioned, it's a private company. I put together presentations and go to the private market and get a partner. We'll probably get some bond money for this, but this is all privately funded. We anticipate starting the final engineerings. We already have the plant drawn out, but it has to go through final engineering. I plan on attempting to find a piece of property for it in January of next year, 27, do the permitting, and get the equipment ordered for the inside of the plant. Start the plant work, site work, roads, infrastructure in May through September. Build it October through March of 28. And we start the construction phase, we start the operation phase in April of 28 to September. This is about as most conservative schedule as you can do. Talking to Ron, we can shave 6 months off of this. I don't know about 6, but I'm sure we can shave 3. And then we have a 90-day startup, usually takes about 3 months, but we'll start up with a single shift, get everyone trained up, and then as soon as that shift is working well, we'll go to the double shift, and by January of 29, we'll have 215 to 240 people working full-time, 24/7, 5 days a week. And this is really Ron's picture on the location. I'm not super familiar with the location, but the reason we liked Edgewood and Moriarty, Moriarty's a little bit lower end than here, but they had a nice site. We've talked to them and continue to talk, but it's a centralized location. It's not too far from Albuquerque and Santa Fe, which we think we'll get some of our labor from. It's good labor availability, although they're going to have to drive a while, but they're going to make enough money to live locally. It's a short haul for the steel by rail. Most of the steel will come out of Texas or California by rail, probably into Albuquerque. got a nice standard of living here. It's going to be easy to attract people. It's a wonderful town. It's affordable. You have good utilities. We believe we have enough utilities here. And you have a wonderful kind of ratio. Your median age is 36 years old. 95% have high school educations. 35% have bachelor's degrees. So Edgewood has a lot of things going for it for a new business. But we don't want to be in a town that they don't want us. And so we're not going to put it in a neighborhood. It will be on industrial land, permitted, and go through all the public notification period. So that's it for me. Any questions? Go ahead.
Sir, it's the same question as I asked Ron. No matter what side of this, project you're on, is this information gonna be made available online?
Yeah, I'll put this online. I just got to take the numbers off of it. You'll have the same presentation online. I'm just going to take the dollars off because it's just going to our competition. Mine will be available. I'll have this back to Kelly. Well, I'm flying early, so it'll probably be Thursday.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay.
And you're committed, we have a page on our website for this project, and that's where we're all putting.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my dad was a retired steel worker and worked in steel factories back east. So I would like you to answer some questions concerning safety, what kind of accidents can happen in this sort of factory, and your relationship with OSHA is one. The other thing is Edgewood is the edge of the woods, which in other words, we have no trees. So when you're talking about 24/7, what kind of light pollution can we expect? Because one of the things we like out here is our night skies. Thank you, sir.
From an OSHA standpoint, obviously, accidents are very, very expensive.
Come up to the microphone, people online can hear you, sir. Perfect.
I just don't want everybody to hear it. Okay, from an OSHA standpoint, I ran that business for 10 years. We had 2 serious accidents. One, a man was riding a cart with a piece of pipe on it, which is totally against the rules, and got half his leg cut off because he was riding a cart on a piece of deal, and he actually got a new leg, and he went back to work, but it's very expensive. He did take a few weeks off for not following policy. The other was in the painting booth, a man put his arm under the pipe to wipe the dust off. There's all sorts of signs that say don't put your in it, and it degloved him. It took the skin off of his arm. I don't remember if he came back to work or not, but he recovered the use of his arms. Hadn't had a fatality there during the pipe running of the job. We did have a fatality during the pipe plant being built. A crane was up there, and the top of the crane piece fell off and hit a man on the head and killed him. He wasn't one of our employees, but it was a lost time fatality, which was a very serious accident. And for the whole time I ran the pipe plant, we had 32 pipe plants in the United States. I had no fatalities for 4 years.
Thank you, sir.
How much water do you guys use to set up a facility like that and to create the mortar and all of the water usage that is necessary for the creation
It
of the
depends
pipes?
on the size of the pipe. For 36-inch pipe, it's about 200,000 gallons a year, and it's recycled. And so
And the light pollution that Gene brought up?
we can't have pollution leave the site. That's against the rules. There'll be no dirty water going out. All the water is recycled.
No, I'm asking about light. I'm asking,
yeah,
if you're
I didn't
gonna run the
answer that.
plant 24/7, 5 days a week,
Okay.
7
So the
days a week.
yard- So it'll be a fenced facility. What we try to do on light pollution is point those lights in. I don't know that the whole yard will have to be illuminated at night because it kind of depends on the loading schedule. Only the loading area will be that. But that whole pipe deal in modern plants is all engineered to minimize light pollution.
And where are we talking about putting this, where are we talking potentially about putting this plant? Where is it?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, do we have an idea? I mean,
not really. Yeah, but we take all that into account, you know, there's lots of sites available. We actually have a site that we have a contract on in Moriarty next to their sewer plant, but it's not gonna work because they've got some sewer litigation going on right now. But that was a part of using recycled water, but it's a very clean visual deal. The pipe goes out of the plant, constructed and stored on the yard. And then we try to put material on the yard to minimize dust, so we load it with forklifts. And so we try to minimize those. It's not loaders and everything running outside.
Is there a particular location in Edgewood that you're looking at to put up this plant?
It would be old industrial area that's been used in the industry, but not the pipe industry. But,
Okay, where?
well, I'm not at liberty to tell you today. I still got to negotiate with, well, when we do that, I'll let you know. But I don't really want to tell a particular property owner that I'm interested in buying a particular piece of property so he can double the price on me.
How this is going to affect 6,100 people in this town?
It won't affect very many of you, but it will affect some. And we will let you know when we know.
Because that's going to have an impact on property value.
Exactly.
They're going to go down.
Depending on where it is, they may go up. It can happen. Go ahead.
I think you may have answered my question already. I was wondering if you're the same company that proposed building down in Moriarty a number of years ago. Oh, it's been longer than that.
I was there 2 years ago.
But you are the same company that proposed building down there and did a presentation some years ago.
Yeah, no more than 2.
Okay.
I've only been on the project for 2 years. But I did the presentation, so we did it to the city council.
And why didn't that work down there?
Well, it hasn't been funded. We don't have a pipe job.
Can you use the mic, please?
We need a pipe job to get funded, a job.
But
So I can't build a plant in New Mexico that costs this sorts of money without a job to start it with. Because I'm borrowing the money.
So that leads to another question. You said it doesn't pay to transport this pipe over hundreds of miles. When this project, if it is done, once the project's completed, what happens to your manufacturing facility?
Well, it's going to do all the other pipeline jobs we talk about, plus the other ones that are on the list. There's a variety of piping projects in and around New Mexico. It has to have a market to build the plant. Yeah, one right here.
Thank you for your presentation. I really appreciate you sharing all that information. It's really exciting. Couple quick questions. Will you be able to do much smaller diameter pipe, like for replacing all the local pipelines? Can they make those sort of pipelines?
Because that does 84, you can't get that orifice down below 20, 22.
So this would only be able to do very large pipe.
Well, 20 is not too big. 12 is large.
Yeah, I guess compared to a, you know, a neighborhood.
It won't do small water transmission.
Oh, okay. Bummer. Other question, excuse me, 2 million gallons a year, I believe was the
200,000.
I thought I saw 200,000 is the number for if you're doing 36-inch pipe and you're recycling that. I guess my question is, have you, because we're in a closed basin and you can't apply for new water rights, do you have a plan on how to secure the water rights to get building the pipe until you get the water rights?
Yeah, we can truck it in.
You're going to truck in all the water?
We can truck it in.
Just buying it from Entrinosa?
From wherever we can get it. And we have the ability to use slightly different water because we can always treat it too. So our water has certain specifications because water is transmitting through the inside of the pipe. So we have water specifications that go in the pipe.
So that's less than an acre foot of water.
That's good to hear.
But that's
From
for
reading it, I thought it was
36-inch
6 acre-feet, which is still not a crazy amount of water. I'm just wondering if you figured out, because this is all about solving the
We
water
can-
problem,
we-
and there's a water problem inherent in solving the water problem.
We will have water storage on site too, with our recycled water. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's all being reused.
In the Army, I was a petroleum officer, and I built and operated both fuel and water pipelines. They're tactical, so they're not at all your permanent pipeline. Have you ever considered aluminum pipelines? Now, I'm just asking, because that's what we
No,
use.
but there are pressure pipe, and not aluminum, because aluminum's kind of hard to extrude.
Okay.
But there are plastic pipelines, but this particular pipeline with the mountains is gonna have a substantial amount, 250 PSI in it. So,
Okay.
so really, the main reason for the steel is for the deal, for the
High
the
pressure
strength,
pipeline.
the hoop strength on the steel
Okay.
pressure pipe.
What is the lifeline, or lifetime of this particular pipe?
100 years.
100 years. What do you have to do to maintain the pipe?
Nothing. It's got a polyurethane coat, which takes the alkalinity.
Okay.
you know, And then there'll be a fiber optic line either in it or on it that will be measuring any potential water leaks that come up. And that will tell you where that leak is, and they start out as a pinhole. Very few leaks. I just took out a 75-year bar wrap pressure pipe job on a development I'm doing in DFW, and it was fine. It was still good. We just took it out of service. So it will last well beyond a normal lifetime.
And what do you do to keep the pipeline clean?
Well, that's really the transmission water company, but
Okay.
it's only, you can only put in a water transmission it's all sorts of government restrictions. You can only put clean, treated water, not necessarily treated, but clean water in the pipeline. So you can't use that pipeline for anything besides drinking water once it's put into service.
Okay. And then I have a question for you, sir. About how many foot ahead are you pumping against over your pipeline trace? 3,100 feet of push, okay. That basically means how much uphill he's going with the pipeline. Okay, thank you. That's fine. I built different pipelines, so I'm just sort of interested to see how you're doing this. We've never dealt with building pipes, we were just interested in laying pipe. So, thank you.
But I don't lay it. I'm only providing
I
it.
know, I understand,
Okay.
I understand, that's why I'm.
Okay. And we have to be low. I mean, once all this does, I have to bid this pipe to Ron. Ron's got to take quotes from all over my old company, and we have to be low. I mean, this is all about, making it worth the while for the owner of the pipeline. Yes, ma'am.
I know I came in late, I've been away a couple days, and then I've worked today. You said drinking water, this will be fluoride free, correct?
That's not my call. I'm talking about the pipeline. That's a water treatment. That doesn't have, that actually goes back to the local water supplier. I don't think that's a water transmission
You
issue.
got a question back there, Josh? Yes.
Yeah, I got a quick question. For the production of it to make the pipelines, is there, because you said you can treat the water and everything, are you able to use, if able, to reclaim water through the wastewater?
Absolutely, for us.
Okay. Yeah, to make the pipe,
So
not,
after the concrete, all the slurry and washing down the concrete, all that gets reused.
okay. Right, that was my question.
Oh, yes, sir.
Hey, Ron, can I just ask you to touch on one more thing? And I may have stepped out to attend to something and didn't hear it, but what about the fiber that goes in the trench below the pipeline?
Well, there's an opportunity for several fiber conduits. Senator Padilla might want to speak about this, but state received substantial.
Funny, I just asked Senator Padilla, and he said, go ask Ron.
Substantial amount of money not for the middle mile, but for
Something
all
like
the
that.
small communities. But we've been looking and working with various companies. We anticipate laying conduits that provide several hundred fibers. And if we're below 54 inches, then the military installations can utilize it because it can't be penetrated by
I just think
satellite.
there's a real opportunity here
Yeah.
that we haven't touched on too much, and Senator, not to throw you under the bus. Did we do okay on that one?
Well, there's two things going on here. Thank you. There's two things going on where fiber is concerned. One is to monitor what you just heard about the pipe itself, for health of the pipe, cleanliness, the leakage or whatever. So that's one that just is dedicated for that service alone. Then there's another opportunity here. When Ron came to see me about this project, I'm the one that created the Office of Broadband Access and Expansion for the state. We've gone from 48% to 92% for the state in the 14 years I've been in the Senate to high-speed broadband. Well, I said to him, well, why don't you consider, and you're going to open up the ground, open it up once, to not have to open up the ground so many times, and lay the fiber on or near or beside or whatever the pipe that you're putting in, so that'll create redundancy. It'll add additional speeds, and then a town like this can work with your local telco or rural telco or some other entity to take that broadband out into the community itself. But then the redundancy piece and the fiber itself can be laid in Ron's 200-mile pipeline that doesn't exist there today, that can help bring redundancy to parts of the state that don't have it today. So that's another benefit to this project, I think. So this wouldn't just be about water. This would also be about data transmission and all that information. So.
Thank you. Sorry to drag you into that.
Anyone else? Okay, my turn. I appreciate you guys coming and presenting this and stuff. My only concern is that this wasn't brought to the citizens prior to this meeting. And that seems to be a common thing that occurs around here. We all know it. We've been through the JPA. I would urge you guys to stop doing that. It's frustrating. It's not that we want to be difficult. We want to be informed. We've asked you. We've begged you. And it's almost like you look at us, and especially you, recently, you talk down to us. We're done. If you're not happy with being up there, leave. Because we're certainly not happy with some of you guys being up there, but you haven't left yet. So please, change your attitude. I hope we all get better. I really do. But I appreciate you gentlemen coming and presenting this. I'm just frustrated with our town. Thank you.
One of the things, and I don't disagree with you at all, one of the things was on this project, the timing of it, the legality, when we could involve others, and I see some of you shaking your head. You're obviously in private business and understand that. And so there was no intention by the commission to not, or me, to not bring it forward just as soon as we could. Did you have something else, sir? Yeah.
I also would like to thank you guys for being transparent and, opening up and for giving us all the information and for clarifying. My farm is right next to Campbell, so that was my main interest. But having spent 20 years dealing with people speculating on water rights, I would encourage the commission to do a good job vetting the source. Water scarcity is a reality all over the state, and it's a really hard problem to solve, and I appreciate all the efforts to solve it. But this would not be the first time that we've had, somebody claiming they're a sustainable water resource that after a long time was proven to be not sustainable at all. Deeply concerned about just exporting the problem instead of actually solving it. So thank you guys.
So at this time, we turn it back over to the commission. Mayor, or Mayor Pro Tem, I think it's in your court. Anything else to say before we come back into our meeting at 6?
Any of the commissioners have anything to say?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Morrell, go ahead.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out. As town manager said, we can't just run around saying every single little detail about every single little thing that we're going into. We have to talk to attorneys. We have to think about litigation. We have to think about a variety of different things, how we present it. Obviously, we all know about the whole fire EMS challenge, right? And we looked bad because we weren't allowed to say nothing. Same situation here. We really can't say anything, but the second that we're able to say it, what did this commission do? Former Commissioner, Mayor Raritan, Commissioner Brennan, Commissioner Taylor, Milligan, and myself, what'd we do? Boom. Let's have a meeting. Let's show it to the public. Let's get their input. So I disagree with Mr. Chavez about how we haven't been transparent. I think we've been transparent when we can. I would love to tell you guys half the things that happen with these lawsuits. I'd love to tell you what's going on with the Campbell Ranch lawsuit. I would love to tell you. It would blow your mind. But I can't because we're in active litigation at the federal level and at the state level. And to assume, because we're not saying anything, is to assume that we're hiding something. The second that we were able to present this to you, we barely just were able to do it at the last meeting. And within a single meeting, we're in front of you guys. So I disagree with Mr. Chavez's analysis of what has been going on. And I would definitely encourage you all, if you have questions to talk about this water project, Mr. Green's available, I'm available, all the commissioners available. The second that Kelly was able to do that, people started saying, what was that meeting about? I was able to start telling them. I'm an open book. People ask me questions all the time. Anybody that's ever called, anybody that's ever emailed knows that I respond fairly quick for the most part. Some things I just can't talk about. It's the part of the game. But I just want to say that the second that we know something, we tell everyone as soon as we can. I would have loved to talk about this a long time ago, Mr. Green, but we couldn't. We just had to wait for the right time to do it. We had to make sure that we had our attorneys look at it. We had to make sure that everything was organized before we even started to talk about it. So with that, Mr. Chair, I just yield my time and look forward to our regular session.
Anybody else? I want to mirror what Commissioner Monroe was saying. When we're going through these negotiations, I mean, it's like negotiating any type of business in anywhere. You have your private negotiations. You go back, you push your ideas back and forth until you get something put together that can be publicly brought out. And that's what we've been doing. We've been going, there was 5 of us all the time going ahead and discussing this in closed session, working on the foundations of this so we'd have something to go ahead and bring towards the public. The one thing you don't want to bring to the public is an idea that is totally half-baked. And until you have a lot of the details sort of put together, until you have a picture of what you're going to be doing, you don't want to be going off, saying things and then not accurately putting out information, because when you're negotiating, not everything is finalized. So one person go ahead and say one thing, and that may not be accurate information, and you can blow your entire deal that you're working on. And as Commissioner Muriel said, once we got to that point to where everything was pretty much a format and a picture put together, the first thing we wanted to do was bring it to the town. And now this is just step 1. As you saw, the timeline of what this is going to take, anywhere between, a year to 2 years to go ahead and get this pipeline put in, and also the time to build the pipe manufacturing plant, which I said before is we have been asked many a times that we need, jobs in this town that are good paying jobs so that our kids can grow up and work in these jobs. Well, this is going to be a good paying jobs for a lot of people. And our kids that are going through school here, now they got, hey, I can go at a welding school, I can go to pipe manufacturing school, I can go ahead and get this education, and I don't have to leave my home. I can work in New Mexico, which is one of the biggest problems our state has to begin with. Our biggest export for this state is our kids. They leave here to go other places because the jobs aren't here. Well, we're bringing the job here for our kids, for our families. The other thing this is gonna do, I've talked about this, and I asked this, is this a good way to think about this? And I was told yes, is that when this water does start flowing, and we start selling the water, whether or not EPCOR or Entranosa wants to buy that water, that's neither here nor there. But if they do start buying that water and utilizing it, that is gonna take a strain off the aquifer we have right now. And over time, hopefully, with the grace of God, that aquifer can start to go ahead and regenerate itself. And some of the wells that have gone dry, the water level may come up. And like I say, I'm saying may. Nothing's a guarantee. But by taking the stress off that water can then be used for some of the agriculture we do have out here. Everybody knows about the situation Swaybuck Farms has had because their well went dry. When was the last time you were able to go out and buy over here at the corner some Swaybuck corn? The second year without it. And I myself, I miss that corn. That is the best corn I've had in years. But until the aquifers themselves can start to regenerate, and that's going to take a few other things. One, we need to get some wet years coming up. We need to get snow. They're forecasting that between the end of this summer and next winter, we're going to have it wet, but we need it continuously. But by not constantly draining the water out of this aquifer, at least it will have a chance to recover and give that possibility. The other thing is this water has an extremely lower hardness rate than the water that we're currently using, and the dissolved solids in it is much lower. Not too long ago, I had a person at church come up to me and handed me this white rock. I thought it was a fossil. This was calcium that had built up in her drain pipes, and she had to have her drain pipes replaced. With water like this, problems like that are not going to happen. For those of us who have water softeners in our homes, the amount of salt you have to use to soften your water is going to greatly decrease like I said, if your water provider decides to go ahead and start buying this water, because it is it's a lot less hard and has a lot less dissolved solids in it. Everything people have been complaining about for as long as I've lived in Edgewood, these are some of the things that are going to help correct those problems and bring better things for the town. We talked about these good jobs that are going to be coming in. Well, guess what? People have good jobs like to buy things, and they like to buy things where they're working. So that means GRT for this town will go up. I mean, it is a circle of life of improvements for the town. Economically, with our water, with our living sustainability. I see nothing but good things that can come from this, and we will keep a close eye on it, and we will keep informing the town as things develop and as we have information that we can bring forward without, breaking any agreements that we have with anybody.
I would just like to add, there is water samples over there from the project water and the town's current water. You can definitely sample those for yourself, so feel free to try those out. So Ron did bring some samples of that, so give those a try. That's all I got.
Anything from staff?